आदरणीय दर्शकवृन्द, हामी आजको यो विविध सँगालो कार्यक्रमको अन्त्यतिर आइपुगेका छौँ। दर्शकवृन्द, सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन परिवार तपाईहरूको सहयोग, सल्लाह, सुझाव तथा प्रतिक्रियाको सधैँ अपेक्षा गर्दछ, जसका लागि हाम्रो ठेगाना हो सगरमाथा टेलिभिजन, PO Box 1400, लोटन, भर्जिनिया 22079। हाम्रो इमेल ठेगाना हो info@nepaltvusa.com। हामीलाई फोन गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। हाम्रो फोन नम्बर हो 703-926-9530। हस्त दर्शकवृन्द, अब यहाँहरू समक्ष हाम्रो नेपाली टेली चलचित्र माइतीको अर्को भाग प्रस्तुत गर्दै आजको यो विविध सँगालो कार्यक्रमबाट म सञ्चालक राम खरेल बिदा चाहन्छु। आगामी कार्यक्रमसम्मका लागि बिदा दिनुहोस्। नमस्ते।
Now it is time for legal discussion with Mr. Fitzgerald Lewis and Mr. Ali Ajwar, attorneys at law from the Law Office of Lewis and Associates, Falls Church, Virginia.
Namaste viewers, this is Fitzgerald Lewis
and Ali Azhar
from the Law Offices of Lewis and Associates in Falls Church, Virginia, and you are watching us on Sagarmatha television program. So Ali, what are we talking about today?
Mr. Lewis, I wanted to continue on with some of the complicated questions that have been arising.
I like complicated questions.
Yeah, they make life a little more interesting. We have had situations where, you know, people have walked into our office and from other associates of ours that people come from a certain country into the United States. They have families, they have spouses, children, and they end up being separated. Sometimes divorces follow just because it's been so many years and people don't have an intention to go back. They then get married to US citizens, obtain their permanent residence and eventually their citizenship, and then end up divorcing the US spouse and now trying to reconcile and bring their prior spouse and children in most cases into the US as permanent residents. And obviously, as you can imagine, it doesn't work very well most of the time. What are the ramifications of something like this? I mean,
well, the first presumption is the is the marriage valid or not? So let's say a person comes in, let's say this person is a man. He comes in and he divorces his wife back in his home country and then gets married to an American citizen and gets his green card and then on to his citizenship here. Now, if his marriage in America to the American U.S. citizen is it's done only for green card purposes. It's a crime. It's visa fraud, and it carries a 5-year jail term with it. So first of all, I mean, I don't think majority of the people from our part of the world are looking to go to jail or are jailbirds. So I don't think that anyone should be getting involved with this type of headache. But let's presume that they did do that. Now, can they bring their children in? Of course, that's not an issue. You'll be able to bring your child in. But then what about your wife? She will always have to stay back home. That doesn't simply make sense because you will never be able to bring her on your own through the husband. You have to bring her some other ways. But what a headache. And I don't think any green card is worth this headache where you're jeopardizing your freedom. You're jeopardizing your religion because you're lying. You basically are talking about a marriage which is a sacred act. You're creating a divorce, which is also a sacred act. And why should you think that God will be okay with you with doing all of these things? And I've seen so many times where these people have destroyed their own life. They've destroyed the life of the children, and they've destroyed the life of the other spouse. So my suggestion is, please, beside the law part, just stay out of it because it's not a moral thing to do, and you're going to get hurt, and it simply is not worth it if that's what you're trying to do.
And it can have expensive legal ramifications,
of course,
if not limited to jail time.
Right. I was just dealing with a case. Actually, I got a call today. It was a guy that was talking about visa fraud, and he wanted to know what the fee is going to be, and I said we will start off at $25,000. So that's a big chunk of change, exactly, for anyone to be dealing with these type of issues. It's not worth it. Just avoid it, and you will never have to deal with it. And if you're listening to it and you know of people who are contemplating this, please tell them stay away from this headache. It's not worth it.
So, Mr. Lewis, just to recap, and I know that some of our viewers hang on technicalities, that they came in, they divorced, and then they married US citizens and divorced them. Now they technically can get married to anyone again. So again, just to make it clear, a person who's come here who's now become a U.S. citizen based on a marriage to a U.S. citizen will have a hard time bringing in their spouse from their home country?
Well, I think there are more chances of them winning a lottery than to bring their spouse in, because imagine what you're doing. Number one, you have divorced your spouse back home. You are then married to an American citizen whom you then divorce, and now you remarry that spouse back in your home country, and you're trying to bring it in. Now, do you really think that the local people at the consulate level are that stupid? And if you really think that that's what it is, then I think they have a bridge to sell you, which goes to nowhere for lots of money. This is Fitzgerald Lewis
And Eliezer,
saying goodbye and God bless for now.
thank you.
Adventures in Nepal.
Dear viewers, this is all for today. We hope you have enjoyed our program. Now it is time to conclude today's program with this beautiful Nepali dance. See you next week. Until then, I'm Sharmila Upreti saying goodbye and namaste.